today we're going to be talking about systems to scale, especially during a crisis. And one of the challenging things when putting this together is I think that a lot of people hear the word scale and they immediately think I'm going to double my revenue. Like scaling is like, how do I, double or quadruple my revenue? And how do I grow the business to where I'm hiring new people and doing all these things? And so I will go ahead and preface this webinar with this scalability is not doubling your revenue or hiring a bunch of new people or opening another location. The scalability I want to talk about today is the scalability of being more efficient with the time that you have. And so making sure that the limited amount of time that we all have right now, especially as many of us are still working from home, is spent being as productive as you can be. And when I say efficient, it's spending your time on the highest and best use of your time. So today, I want to ask you, how many of you guys have asked yourselves this question or these questions, or said these things to yourself? I can do it faster by myself. I'm the only one who understands this. The client only wants to work with me. They don't want to work with my team members. I'm assuming that some of these things are kind of resonant because we actually got these pieces of feedback or commonality when we asked some of our colleagues and strategic partners what some of the challenges they have with scaling are. And so I'm sure that I want to be very real with you guys. I'm a big advocate of mental health and I like to be very transparent. I'm sure that you think that these things are true. And in some part of you, you're like, nope, this is the way it is. This is how, my clients feel. I'm the only one who can do it. Unfortunately, in many cases, they aren't true. They're just what your reality is right now. And one of the reasons that we hold on to these sentiments, I'm the only one, I do it better than anybody, I can do it faster than anybody, is because it makes us feel important and valuable when we're the only ones who can do something. And so when we're willing to take a departure from that and consider having other people help us, it gets uncomfortable. It gets, I'm not used to that. I'm not used to having to rely on other people. And as a very independent person, type A personality, I can tell you that it's not always easy for me either to go, yep, I want this thing. And I know that I can get there if I work hard enough or long enough. But I'm going to get there faster and potentially even have a better result if I work with someone else. And so, today, what we're going to do is get outside of your comfort zone and start to talk about working with other people and having tools and resources and training to do that effectively. And then scaling up. So scaling your time. Now, again, I mentioned I'm a big advocate of mental health. So as we're getting into all of this, one of the things that I want to preface everything with is that I'm encouraging you during this time of crisis to take care of yourself. And that is very hard for a lot of us. If you're a business owner, or even if you're just, working a job and trying to keep it right now, it is very hard to take time to take care of yourself. And so, I love the oxygen mask analogy of, you don't put yours, or you don't put on somebody else's first, you put on yours. Otherwise you are not conscious to help people. This is a really great example of that right now. There are so many people working so hard to keep their jobs or to get new clients or to, maintain their business, that they're not taking time for themselves. So I don't like the term work-life balance because I don't think it's ever going to be 50-50. Hopefully not. I hope that it's a work-life integration and that we can find ways to integrate those things together in a healthy way. So that could be as simple as cleaning your desk space or your home to make sure that you feel comfortable working there. It could be planning breaks. I've heard from a lot of colleagues right now that are having a lot of trouble taking breaks. They're at home, they get into work mode, 6 hours later, they forgot to go to the bathroom. They forgot to eat anything today. Their Fitbit or their whatever is binging at them. Hey, you need to get up and move around. And just something like getting outside, just walk outside and take a 10-minute walk and get some fresh air and some grounding. So today, as we're talking about the people and the resources that you have to scale, I want you to remember that scaling is not doing more. It's not grind harder. It's not hustle earlier. I hear all of those terms, and I think especially prior to the crisis, the COVID crisis, we heard a lot of that. It was hustle, grind, like get it. And this is all kind of put things in a new perspective. So again, as an encouragement, as I'm talking about extra time that you might be getting, consider spending some of that on self-care. So today I want to go over some steps and some tools that you guys have to scale your business and just get more of that time and integration in your life. We're going to review how to train your team, and if you don't have one, how to get one, who your team is, and how to build them appropriately. So we're kind of going to piece all of that together, and then I'll be sharing some software and tools as well that'll help you guys grow. So how to use actual software and tool. I'm very action oriented, and as a reminder, just as a heads up, at the end of this, I'm going to send out a survey for you guys, and we're also going to send out an email to everyone who attended with some additional resources. So let's get right into it. We have a lot of different people on the call here, and I know that some of you own businesses. Some of you are maybe like a manager or a C-suite level in your business. Some of you, maybe work with employees or independent contractors. Some of you are flying solo. For all of those things, that's totally fine for right now. In one of my other webinars, I defined success during crisis as just surviving. So if you're here, you have the time to learn and you're getting through it, you guys are already successful. I started my marketing agency for small businesses about 6 years ago. And I was all by myself when I did that. And I was in I was a really bad mental place. So I had clinical depression. I was having panic attacks. I was anxiety out the wazoo. And I knew that, if I could just hunker down and really, I can do this all by myself. I can do this. I'll work harder. I'll hustle. I'll grind. And what I found really quickly within 6 months is that I had too many clients to handle everything myself. And so if you're in that position right now where, you're working independently, whether you own a business or you don't, whether you're working independently, within an organization or you own your own company, we can talk about a few introductory level options for you. So again, these are tools that we've used and people that we've used, but also I know that there are plenty of people I've worked with, different like networking partners and colleagues that will, even if they have a job somewhere, they'll hire their own assistant just to help them be more productive and things like that. So I'm going to have my friend Jessica, our operations manager. Jessica is going to share a couple of links in the chat with you all. And I just realized that my chat is closed. So I'm going to open that up. Meanwhile, guys, if you want to introduce yourself in the chat, who you are and what you do, you're more than welcome to do that. You don't have to, but you're welcome to meet one another. Jessica is going to share some links with you right now, and I want to go over some of those things. So first of all, as a marketing agency, we use a system called Design Pickle. And I know it's a super funny name, but it's an awesome share. Design Pickle is this brilliant idea that a guy had where he went to the very talented people in the Philippines and said, hey, I'd like to start a graphic design company where we sign up clients and every month they can get unlimited graphic design with unlimited edits. And the only thing they won't make is logos. So everything else you can get: flyers, banners, social media images, which is what we use it a lot for. All kinds of things. And so Design Pickle is a great, if you have a lot of design coming in, or if you're an agency like me, we actually use it for the agency and they'll do unlimited design for us and all of our clients. So it becomes a really great solution. Design Pickle does a monthly retainer for that. So if you're looking for graphic design and you need that on a regular basis, that's a great option. Another thing, if you need content written on a regular basis, our company has used in the past a business called Text Broker. So there's a link there for you. So if you're going, okay, I need to be producing content on a regular basis, I don't have time for this, I don't have anyone to help me, you can go on to Text Broker, put in a job request. This is what I need written. We use it. We used to use it a lot for blogs until we got so many. We hired an in-house person to do that. But it's a great introductory step to being able to get some quality content written. And it's per the piece price. So you basically just get it, per article or per content submission. Now, if you're looking for some administrative help, and this is where I think a lot of things are going to come into play during our webinar today, is someone to help with all of the ancillary administrative pieces that just pop up: scheduling appointments, following up, sending gifts, going out and doing research on things and coming back with information and recommendations, social media posting and things of that nature. We used a company called Tasks Every Day. They are great. It's an outsourced company, and it was actually recommended in the 4-Hour Work Week book, if you guys are familiar with that. It was a great recommendation. I went and checked out a few that he mentioned, and this was wonderful. I worked personally with a virtual assistant for about 1.5 years, almost 2 years, and they did a great job. So again, entry level, introductory, I guess I should say introductory level help there. And then the last thing I'm going to recommend is Fiverr. If you have a specific job that you need help with. So again, you're just getting started. I need a logo. I need someone to, create a video for me. I need something very specific done that requires maybe someone who's a little bit more of a specialist. Fiverr is great for that. So you can go in, a lot of them have really base pricing that you can negotiate or do little add-ons. And they give you some quick turnaround times. So all of these things are really great ways to start building a network of people to rely on or delegate to without having to hire a full-time in-house person. I didn't hire a full-time in-house person, and I think my 3rd year in business, everybody was a contractor or one of these resources. So in 2020, we have a lot of outsourced options. I would recommend that you check them out. But once you have some extra hands, you're going to want to make sure that you're utilizing them well. So one of the biggest mistakes that we see our clients make when they're outsourcing, not only with us, but also with other providers, is that they don't give enough direction or information. They hire someone and they're so busy that they don't have time to go in and they don't have time to go in and teach. And what they end up with is a subpar result. And then they get frustrated with the person they hire because they wanted something different. So what I want to do is spend a little bit of time going over the best ways to delegate things, to train people, and to make sure that whether you're hiring somebody, through a tasks every day or a contractor, or you're hiring a full-time employee, you know how to do this. So you cannot do everything forever. So you heard me mention earlier, about 6 months into my business, I had 17 clients. I went from being on unemployment, to having 17 clients. And I went, well, I guess I'm going to need some help. And I was still in my mind thinking, well, I can do it faster. I can do it better. The clients only want to work with me. I didn't want to get outside of my comfort zone, but I ended up hiring someone because I had to. In the last 6 years, what I've learned is that if I don't force myself and really work with my team to come up with systems and training, I am always going to default back to that being overwhelmed and mentally stressed out. So I love this quote from a wellness educator. Her name is Joyce Sanada, excuse me. She says, if you don't take time for your wellness, you will be forced to take time for your illness. So when you're telling yourself every day, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to hire someone. I don't have time to teach somebody. I don't have time to make a plan. You do have time. You're just currently spending it on the wrong things. Hear me say that again. You have time. You're just not spending it on the right things. Okay? So if your number one training concern is that you can do it faster, I want you to sit down and think about, what does that mean you can do it faster? So take any particular task and think, okay, it takes me 10 minutes to do this task. Maybe it's, putting together a proposal for a client. What if it took somebody else right now 20 minutes or 30 minutes to do that, because you've never taught them how to do it? So when you try to give them some, offhanded delegation, it takes them forever and you get frustrated because you could have done it faster. What if you sat down and you said, okay, I'm going to take maybe a half an hour one time to really train this person and make notes and record it so that they can reference it later. And then the next time I need a proposal, I give it to them and it takes them 5 minutes less than it used to. And then another 5 minutes less, until they're making proposals in 10 minutes the same way you used to make proposals in 10 minutes. Is that worth your time? In the long run, is it worth it for you to trade off your higher level execution time for a little bit more investment on the front end? Then I want you to consider how much time it takes takes you to answer questions. So this is my favorite thing. You think you don't have time, but how much time do you spend right now answering questions for other people? because they don't know how to do the things that you're asking them to do, or it's some adjacent thing and they're trying to learn on the go, right? So you spend a lot of time talking to people to get information and then giving partial information to somebody else. And then they ask you 100 questions and you want to help, but you're like, I don't know, like, here's a quick answer. Here's a quick answer. Our instinct when someone asks us a question is to give them a finite direct answer. So here's an example. Hey boss, what should I do about this proposal? Instinctively, we are busy, we're moving around, we have a lot on our plates. We want to turn to them and say, okay, put these 3 items on the proposal. This is the price. And then once you get that, put the logo at the top, and then you're going to take an email to this guy on this business card. Go. What did they learn? They didn't really learn anything. What you gave them is a very specific directive order to go do a series of things one time. Now, over time, they might start to become astute enough to go, this is how we make proposals. But imagine if you sat down in the beginning and said, let me explain to you what goes into a proposal. We're going to take 20 minutes and go over why we're selling these items, how we get the price, what template we put it in, and the sending system and the template that we have to send these out to clients. Now, the next time you ask for a proposal, they might have fewer questions and they're going to understand it better, right? So you want to make sure that you're leaving your trainee with additional knowledge to start problem solving. We're not trying to create like lemmings here. When you're working with people, you're trying to create people that can solve problems for you. That's why you're paying them to make your life easier, not to give you more questions to answer and more work to do. So try to explain the context of the thing, of the project or the problem. This is what we're facing. This is why we do this thing. What questions do you have right now that I can answer? Craig says, I always say delegate outcomes, not tasks, which is awesome. It is hard for me to remember, Craig, but one of the challenges I have when a person asks me, especially one of my team members asks me a question, is to try to reply with, what do you think we should do? Because a lot of times, like 97% of the time, they already know the answer. They're just coming to you for confirmation because humans want confirmation. Of course we do, right? So in this, it takes less of your time to review and edit someone else's work than it does to do all the work yourself. So if you ask a teammate to start a project, if you've given them some training and you say, look, I need you to go out and do this, use all your knowledge and your problem solving and your research to do this, and then bring me back what you have and we'll review it together. And I'll give you feedback and explain to you why things should be a certain way. You're going to save a lot of time. You're still going to get it done, and it will get done faster and faster every time until you no longer have to do it at all. So the more experience they have in these projects, the better these projects get, right? But what that leads us to is you having the bravery and the strength to give someone else a project to do. And this is where I want to talk about this 10-80-10 method. So if you are looking at projects that you're delegating out, one of the rules of thumb I try to have is 10% of the time on that project for you should be spent explaining the context of the project and delegating what it is. This should not take long. This should be something where it's like, okay, I'm going to sit here, but it should be focused. I'm going to focus on it, and I'm going to give you what you need in its comprehensive nature to do the task. 80% of the time on a project should be somebody else doing that work. So it allows you to go focus on the highest and best use of your time. If you're a business owner, that's probably something like sales, hiring, going in and doing strategic planning on the company versus in the company. So imagine if you taught someone to make proposals so that you could go have more time to network and get more leads to make more proposals. Because you're probably the only one truly who is qualified to go network, or sell. There are some things that aren't really delegatable. Delegatable? That sounds like a word. Let's go with that. I always like to make up a new word. Every webinar, I make up a new word. Delegatable is the one for this one. So 80% of the time should be spent apart with you doing your work and them doing theirs. And then the last 10% is them coming back to you and the two of you reviewing it together and saying, okay, let me see what you've done. Normally when I get this, they've done 90%. Like I keep 80 to 90% of what they've done. And what I do is tweak it. It's nuanced tweaks. Well, I like it to be like this. Here's why. I'll give you a great example. We've got a new sales guy. He's doing a bang up job. He's been with me for about 5 weeks. I asked him to put together his first services overview proposal. He came back and he had 95% of what he needed. He was missing one thing. So I asked him to add that, and everything else was just out of order. And the reason I told him it was out of order is because when we present to a client, there's a natural rhythm or pattern to which we present. Well, we're going to start with this, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to finish with that. He would not have any way of knowing that. But when I explained it to him, this is why we do this, he's like, oh yeah, that makes total sense. Let me make a note so that next time I know what order to put it in. That's amazing. That saved me 40 minutes of time to just tell him to do it in order, right? Because he can make them going forward. So that's the 10-80-10 method. Another way this works really well, again, if you're just getting started and you're using some of these independent contractors, is the kind of delegating or getting content. I love to record videos. I have a video recorder, which we'll share with you later. If I need someone to write content for me and I want it to be specific, I'm the subject matter expert, but I don't want to sit down for 2 hours and write an article because I'm going to nitpick every word and go back in, and it's just annoying. So instead, what I do is I record a video about what I want to talk about, because as you guys can see, I have no problem talking. So when I record the video, I can hand it over to someone like at a text broker or a Tasks Every Day, or maybe even a Fiverr, or hire an independent contractor and say, please watch this video, transcribe what I say, and then polish it up into text. When they give it back to me, it is 95% done, and all I have to do is a quick edit to finish it into an article, right? So this is hopefully going to save you guys a lot of time. Now, okay, so going back to training, one of the big challenges that we see our clients having, and frankly, some of my colleagues having, because I'm in a lot of like entrepreneurial like forums and support groups and things like that. Guys, stop keeping secrets. Secrets don't make friends. Business owners can feel like they're the only ones who can handle the amount of complexity or the information that's required to do a task. I'll give you an example. We have a very large client. It's our largest client. We've had them for 6 years. And when I first started delegating things out, I kept everything for this client to myself because they're our biggest client. I don't want to lose them. Like, I don't want someone to like go off and do something wrong and make them mad and we lose the client. And so it was, well, I'm the only one who can do that. You go do X and I'll do this over here. I'm the only one who can do that part because I'm the only one who's, I've been with him for 2 years. So I understand all the background. I'm the only one who knows that. And it got to the point where now he's so big and he has multiple locations, I can't handle it anymore. And I realized that keeping secrets not only hurt me because it keeps my time from being productive, but it also keeps my team from growing, and it keeps my client from being able to engage with and trust my team. So if you own a business, I will remind you, you don't need job security. You already own the business. Okay. So this isn't like when you had a job before and you worked for someone else, and the more you knew how to do, the better your chances of keeping your job. If you keep it to yourself, if I'm the only one who knows how to program the computer, they can't get rid of me. That's no longer true. If you own a business or you're out there working with other teams, you're going to be seen as not a really great team player. So keeping secrets is not a good idea. If the task seems really large and complex, that probably means that it's going to need some extra training, but you can sit and kind of think back to, how did I learn this? So remember that people think best in stories. They learn best through stories. So think back, okay, I've had this client for 2 years. I know all these things about this client that my team member doesn't know, and I want to be able to hand it over. Sit down and tell them a story. Record the story. Here's what happened. We started with them here. Here's what happened during proposal and the discovery phase. Here's when we signed up and how excited we all were. Here's the first project that we had a win on together. Here's the first time that we flubbed it. And we had to win back their trust to make sure that they were going to stay with us in the long run. Here are all the things we do for them and where we've, what's working and what's not working and how we can be better. Sit down for 10 or 15 minutes and tell them a story. And then connect the pieces to the things that you're working on. Make sure to include the why. Why are you working with this person? Why do they want to work with us? What value are you bringing? When they can understand the complexity of the situation at a deeper level, being able to assign them specific tasks will be a lot easier. And I want to make a note here because I think this is really important. Maintaining strong relationships with your COIs, your center of influence, it's important for you. You need to have your own network and centers of influence. But a recent study showed that 32% of consumers will walk away from a brand they love after just one bad experience. Right? So one bad experience is enough to get a good chunk of people, almost a third of people, to walk away after just one bad experience. So it would make sense that the better relationship you have with your clients and your COIs, the more likely they are to stay with you, even if you do have a bad experience. You can achieve that by making sure that you are sharing your team with them. So if you're the only person that can provide them good service or the value that they want, whether it's a client or it's a strategic partner, it's a networking acquaintance, whatever it is, and you are human, reminder, everyone here is human, I think. I can't see a couple of people. I assume, I assume we're all humans. But you're going to make a mistake. And if you're the only thing that they have vested in the company and they get mad at you, they're 32% likely to peace out. Now, if they know that there are multiple members on your team and they have either met them or they know the work that they do, they've talked to them on the phone or a video call, and they like all of those people, it's a little harder to say bye to a whole group of people. Unless it was a really egregious mistake. But, a little flub when you've been, in connection with 3 or 4 people on a team for a while is easier to forgive. One of the ways that I recommend you guys do this is there's a thing called hero building. So firstly, if you are not able to, oh, hang on, I'm sorry. I just realized I jumped in my notes. If you are not able to speak highly of your team member, so if you're not able to be like, oh yeah, so-and-so did this and they did a really great job on it, you might want to consider continuing to work with that person, right? So if you've got somebody on your team that you're not consistently able to say, this is the work they did and I'm proud of it, might be time to find somebody new. Because you should be able to be talking to a client or a strategic partner. And when they say, hey, you guys did a really great job on that. Thank you. Jessica did it. I'll let Jessica know what you said because I'm sure she'd love to have that feedback. She does really great work for our company. Now you're reminding them that you're actually not the one responsible for and doing all of their work. There's a team of people that are helping. This is going to allow you to scale your time, guys. I want to keep bringing this back. When I say scale, additional revenue is probably a good offshoot of this. Right? Opening a new location or hiring new people, all an offshoot of these things. You have to learn to utilize the resources and the people around you to better use your own time. So, allowing your team, there's a couple other things you can do here. You can allow your team to shadow you during phone calls. So if you are like, okay, there's really no reason that one of my team members should just be in front of talking to a client. That's okay. Have them on the call or bring them to the meeting with the client once we're able to go meet with people again. I tell people this all the time. Oh yeah, this person, hey, we're having our client call. Hey client, I just wanted to let you know, Dan is on the phone today. Dan isn't working on your account, but he's our new business development manager. And we're using all of our client calls this month as a learning opportunity. How much respect do you think you're going to get from your clients when you let them know that you invest into the continuing education of your team members? You're not, unless you're talking about super, confidential information, they're probably going to be impressed. And then they get to meet Dan, right? Even if he doesn't really say anything, they know that he's there on the phone or on the video call. So shadowing is a really great way to let people cross-train in different departments and to build relationships with the people outside of your organization. And then just by observing, they're going to become better relationship managers. So this is the other thing. There are people on my team who don't have direct relationships with any of our clients or COIs or anything, but I have watched their relationship management skills grow over time because they're just watching everybody else manage relationships. So when they see, oh gosh, that client said he wasn't happy with a piece of content, I wonder what we're going to do. And then they see our account manager talk the client through it, handle the edits, resubmit it, get the approval. They've learned more about the contextual relationship, right? So it's a great kind of learning experience there. Now, I know that before you hand anything off, this is hard, and maybe one of the hardest parts as a business owner. We want it to be done our way, but I want it to be done my way. So there's a way to do social media, and this is a challenge we have in the marketing industry, right? I own a marketing agency that does social media. If you get 3 to 5 different quotes from different agencies, all of them are going to say that they do social media management. That's what they say, right? But all of those things are not created equally. So there might be some kid who's still in college that's going to manage your social media that has zero experience with that knows that they're just going to go and post on Instagram a couple of times a day. They don't know your target audience. They don't understand, your products. Like they're just going on and going, oh, here's a picture of my coffee today, like, ooh, having coffee at the well. Like we've seen those. Then you go all the way up to agencies like mine where we're still affordable, but we have a network of professional social media managers who have years of experience doing this. We start with a strategy document and set up. There's a whole launch meeting. There's a process behind it. We're creating posts 6 weeks in advance, submitting for your approval, doing the edits, scheduling them out, pairing them with custom photography. Both of them say social media management. And I know in my heart that when you come to my agency, you're going to get social media done my way, because it's my agency and it's my name on the door. Now, what that means doesn't mean I have to do it all. It means I have to develop systems and training materials to let people do it my way. So I'm always open to their feedback. Literally, I beg them, please let me know how we can make this better. But we create policies around this is how you do social media. So I don't just hire people and say, here's an account, please go manage their social media. They get 3 posts a week. Bye. I say, hey, come on in. Let's talk about this client. This is the process we have. So when you're looking at your standards, you want to, if you're experiencing this challenge yourself, one of the reasons you might be having this is that perception that you're the only one who can do it, or that you can do it better than everyone else. And we've kind of already talked about that before. Maybe you just don't trust your team yet, and that's okay, but you have to give them opportunities to earn your trust with smaller and then increasingly larger projects. Right? So start demonstrating to your clients that you have a capable team, and then start to train them. Jessica, will you share the Loom link for me? So one of the things that we do is we create really strategic onboarding plans. So whether it's an independent contractor or an employee, like a full-time employee, we have onboarding plans to say, these are the things that you need to learn, and here's the order that you're going to learn them in the time frame. So an account manager coming in, we're hiring for an account manager right now. An account manager coming in will have a 90-day onboarding plan. And we've lined all of that out, right? One of the biggest tools that we use is this thing called Loom. You guys have heard me say I record it many times. Loom is a free Google Chrome extension. It allows you to record your screen and or your forward-facing camera. We have hundreds and hundreds of training videos. And this isn't just, this is detailed instructions. It's explainer videos, me just saying, here's what's happening with this and what I need you to do. So there's context around it. We have so many videos, we had to upgrade to the paid version. That's how many we have, right? But most people build onboarding plans for the lowest common denominator. And I want you to hear me say this. If you train people or onboard them for the lowest common denominator, the work that you will get, the result is the lowest common denominator. So if your mentality is we're going to bring them in and we're only going to give them the base training, that's the result that you should expect to get. You can't bring somebody in and say, hey, the social media button is here and the email is over here and your meeting is on Tuesday and you're good, trained, have a great day, and expect them to be able to go do all of those things to your standards. So we highly recommend that what you do is look at all of the things you want them to undertake and break them into some strategic learning plans. Now, the best part about this, I know that you guys are thinking through this and going, oh my God, if I hired 2, 3, 4 different, even independent part-time contractors to help, again, your gut instinct is, I don't have time for all this. You do. It's a matter of rearranging, but also you only have to do it once. So hear me on this. If every time you hire someone, you pause your whole life to go train them up to the highest level, yeah, you don't have time for that. But this is 2020 and we have so much technology. So instead, take the time on the upfront. It does take more time and investment on the upfront. Make the plan, the onboarding plan, the training plan, the whatever it is, the shadowing plan, the questions and answer sheet, frequently asked questions. Make that. You know what's really great? Go into Google Drive, open up a Google Doc, and go into tools. And there's a thing called voice typing. And you can just talk right into Google and it will transcribe all of your words. You don't even have to type this up, folks. You can just say it out loud, right? Do it once, and then every time that you hire, you're scaling your time. I spent an hour and a half making an onboarding plan and with training materials once, and now every time we hire some, we go, here, we'll do a call on Tuesday to review this. Let me know if you have any questions. And then you go spend your time doing something else. So Loom is a really great tool for this. I highly recommend that you guys check it out. And again, screen share videos are really wonderful if you narrate while you go. So just doing it with quiet is eerie and uncomfortable. Talk it out, go to MailChimp.com, open up new campaign, click new campaign, click the audience, click the blah, blah, blah. It helps them process the information. And the recording allows them to go back later. And as a reminder, remember to include the why behind this stuff. Don't just give them the do this, do this, do this, do this. Try to give them the why you do it. Do these things because X. We used to do it this way, but then we learned this. So now we do it this way. Give them that context, okay? Now, I'm going to take some questions and answers, but one of the things that I want to finish with here is the tools to train. So the tools to train, and you've seen, Jess has shared a few of the different links here. But the quality of your work and the ability to get other people to do quality work for you is oftentimes based on the tools that you have. So for example, I just hired that new sales guy. I want to make introductions for him. So what we have done is we've developed a CRM, a client relationship manager. We use HubSpot, and Jess is going to share these links. We use HubSpot Sales, one, because it's free, and two, because it's the most user-friendly I've seen of many of them. But everybody that we know goes into HubSpot. All the information I can find, I give it to my virtual assistant. They're actually interns. We have 2 really phenomenal interns from the Vanderbilt Women in Business program. And anytime I get business cards or I get, emails coming in or whatever, it integrates with email, they all go right into the CRM. So yesterday I said, hey, sales guy, I want to introduce you to some people. And he said, okay, great. How should we do that? And let me give you an example. I said, you need to craft an email written from me to somebody that I'm introducing you to. So try to use my voice as I'm introducing you to someone, put a little info about yourself, and then send it to me. Boom. 10% of my time, he's going to go spend 80% writing the email. He sent it back to me, and I spent 10% of my time reviewing and making a couple edits. Good to go. In the meantime, I sat down and I said, who would I want to introduce him to? That's something only I can do. So I typed up a list of all the people. It was maybe 20 or 30 people. Then I spent 10% of my time sending that into our virtual assistant and saying, hey, can you take this email template that was already written and email it to this list of people from my email account? She's spending her 80% going to do that. And every day I see the emails coming through where I just review to make sure that it's getting done, right? Boom, 20 to 30 introductions taken care of in what probably cost me about 25 minutes total, right? So HubSpot is a really great tool for this. She was able to get all of their contact information because it's in HubSpot. Everybody that we know and all of their emails and so on go in there. Highly recommend you guys check that out. It's again, a free resource. I have the upgraded version, which allows you to have a meeting link, which is also great for scaling time. The free version has one meeting link, but the upgraded version has multiples, but it's really perfect for that. Another way that you can help delegate and keep context and information around projects straight is using a project management tool. We use one called Asana. And it is also free. Again, 6 years into the business and I'm still using the free Asana. We have multiple workspaces, which is a little bit of a workaround, but it does work. And I'm a small business owner, so I like cheap and free things. So the Asana project management tool allows you to go in and you add people into the system. So that can be independent contractors, employees. You can put tasks in there and then assign them out with due dates. Now, most people kind of end there. I would highly encourage you to check out, again, the training videos, the subtasks, the templates that they have. When we launch a new client, guys, we don't create anything from scratch. We've already made it all. We have an entire project that includes everything we could ever sell a client, and we duplicate that template, and then we rename the thing new client name, like whatever that is, company ABC, done. And I'm talking about literally almost 1,000 tasks. It's so many things, right? It got so big that it kept freezing the system. So we had to break it into pieces and then merge it all back together again. But it includes in social media. We don't have to go back and train for social media because every time we start a new project in Asana and you open up the social media section, it has links to all of our training videos for social media and a list of all the things that you need to do every week. It's a really great place to put your templates and assign things out. The other thing I love about it is that, and I'm being a realist here, people are not going to work for you for their entire lives. So they might work with you for, a few weeks and you go, gosh, you're awful and you can't work here anymore. They might work with you for a year and go, hey, I got a, better job offer and I'm leaving. Maybe they have a life change. They get married, they move, they have a baby. The great thing about having everything in something like Asana is that rather than having to go back and train their replacement with an email trail that's a mile long, well, I think we emailed back and forth about that a year ago. Let me go find it. It's all right in Asana. So all you have to do is search that person's name, the one that's leaving, highlight all their tasks, and then reassign them to the new person. Done. Scalability, right? Okay. Talking about sharing documents and materials. I hate having to find stuff. If it takes me more than a couple of seconds to find something, I'm messaging Jessica. I'm like, Jessica, where is my stuff? Literally this morning, Jessica, where's the links? Where are all of our links to the thing? Because I know that it's in there somewhere. Jessica is one of the people in charge of managing our Google Drive. So Google Drive or Dropbox is also popular. I like Google Drive because it integrates with our G Suite. Our company uses G Suite for email and obviously storage and things like that, our Google Voice numbers and things. But you can also create a scalability system for Google Drive. One of the things, Jess, if you'll make a note, can we send the digital filing index in the follow-up email? So I had an intern who was definitely a type A and she loved color coordination and all the tabs. And I said, hey, how would you like to go into our Google Drive and organize everything? And she was like, oh, can I? And I'm like, please do. She went in and organized everything into a system of folders so that we all knew where everything was for every single client and for our company. And then she made one document that's a digital filing index. It shows you how the filing system works. So when new people start with us, we say, here's the digital filing index. If you need anything, this is where it is. And they go, oh, I'm looking for photos for social media. Oh, they're under this folder in this folder here. Okay, cool. They know exactly where they all are, right? So Google Drive is not only a great tool just for storage, but also for scaling. If you can create templates and best practices and checklists and put them all in there, it really helps to find things. Guys, that is all I have to share today. I'm going to leave a little bit of time for questions and answers in case you guys have them. You can do this. This is something that I know takes a little bit more time on the front end, but whether we're in a crisis or not, and I do think that this is important. You know, right now we're still in, hopefully not the middle, hopefully it's the tail end, but you know, we're experiencing this quarantine and a lot of other things that are happening in the world that do make it challenging to stay focused on work, to survive as a business, and to grow. And so these things, you know, they applied before the crisis. I think they apply during the crisis and hopefully will apply after. It really comes down to you being able to think about your own time and the highest and best use of it, and utilizing people and resources and tools at your disposal to be the most efficient. So thank you guys for your time.